Hey y'all, welcome to another On Visual Language with your host, Cyn Lagos. If you're new here, I'm gonna say everything is so far very new. So we're all new here. My name is Cyn Lagos. I am a graphic designer, a visual mentor, a photographer, an aspiring filmmaker, and I am here. I'm gonna lower the volume just a little bit here. Let me know how you're hearing me on the other side of the internet. But I am here because I really enjoy being a visual mentor to aspiring artists, such as yourselves, and just building a creative community and different platforms because that's what it's for, isn't it? Right? So today I actually want to explore Adobe Express. So I delve in a lot of different visual mediums, and Adobe Express is often a place that I go to in order to create my marketing assets for things like social media, print, and things of that nature. Often for social media to be exact. Today, we're actually going to be exploring Adobe Express for a particular video that I created in order to say thank you to everyone that went on my Instagram and wished me a happy birthday on Mother's Day, because yes, it landed on Mother's Day. Wild. It happens once in a while. Super cool. So yeah, it's been a very eventful May. I hope you've had an eventful May yourself, and definitely welcome into the chat and say hello. This is live at the moment, and for my Restream fam, definitely leave a comment and I will say hi later to you too. So let's jump into my feed first so I can show you a little bit about why I use Adobe Express. All right, so we're here on my feed, and one of my favorite things about Adobe Express, I'm gonna say right off the bat, let's expand this. One of my favorite things about Adobe Express in general is that a lot of the things here are already templatized. So it's like a gigantic, incredible world of templates. And I find this to be very useful for me because I manage my own small business, and as such, it means that often I am also creating marketing assets, but also the artwork, the work that I love to create, and often also I'm part of the client acquisition. I'm basically everywhere, right? So time is of the essence. Very, very important. And something that I found that Adobe Express really focused on was expediting that time so that you have more time for other things. And you know what? I am down with that. So I am here on Adobe Express, and right away you're going to see some of my projects. And you can see here actually one of the latest projects that I worked on, and it was for Mother's Day / my birthday. And it was very peculiar because not only was it a duo concept, because it was for many Happy Mother's Day for everybody who was celebrating it, and also it was my birthday, so it was a very interesting moment for me to contend with this time in my life. And I love being able to utilize spaces like social media to be reflective and honest about whatever path I'm in, whatever moment I may be in. So I found myself repurposing some images that I had in my album, printed images, some analog film imagery from the heydays. And you can see here these beautiful images and the way it kind of outputs this grungy texture that we now love to emulate. And I put it together into this composition in Adobe Express. And you can see here I used different assets, things like this little film strip graphic, which functioned as a way for me to sort of narrate the sense of time. And I did this as a carousel. So next to it was this composite, which is essentially the future mom and me, right? So I found this to be really helpful for me to just make something really fast, find myself being reflective in my feed, something that I love doing personally. It's more than just a business, right? Eventually, it just becomes this beautiful, historic feed of where you're at in life and where you're at in your career, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to show you this particularly so you can find some level of education and use this as a level of resource for your own marketing or whatever you might want to repurpose it for, right? So I am currently in Adobe Express, and I'll show you what that final output look like on my feed on Instagram. So here is the final carousel, and wonderful, beautiful people who wish me happy birthday. Big, 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 big hug for you all. And you can see the carousel as it kind of happens here. It's super cool. I decided to put this one first and then this one second, and I use it for my IG. I have made several elements, several posts here on Adobe Express. This is one of them. I made it. I didn't make the video on Adobe Express this one time, but you can. And I actually made it on Premiere, but I did make the cover. So whenever you find yourself having to ideate covers for Reels or maybe YouTube thumbnails, I know those are a big deal, you'll find that doing something on Adobe Express can be very quick and easy and can really quickly make you look like an expert. And granted, I would say, dare say, I am an expert. I have 10 years of experience. And even for me, somebody who's not an entry-level designer, I found it to be very useful for my workflow and repurposing it for things like social media marketing. So a lot of these different covers are actually created on Adobe Express, and they're really imaginative. They have their elements. I always have a through line, and my through line is often a color palette or a font that unifies all of these different designs and starts to help kind of create a grid that feels cohesive. I do break that rule from time to time, of course, but you can see already how cool it's looking. And I'm going to show you really quickly here because I'm with you for a short time today, but I want for you to really take away from this how easy these things can be and how much time it's really going to save you, because that's what I found it useful for. So I'm gonna go into my projects, and actually currently let's pull up, I'm just gonna pull up the video here so you can see it. So currently I wanted to send a thank you, which you're going to actually see popping up on socials, but you get a first preview here. I made this on Premiere. Let me just close this really quick so you can see it. I made this in Premiere, and this is the final output. Really cool, right? I may not have included audio in this stream for you to hear that, but I will in the future. And if you're curious enough, definitely check out and support my socials where you will see this posted. Now that I've created the reel on Premiere, I want to create a thumbnail or a cover for it to appear really nice and neat on my profile. You got to make that step, you got to put the energy to do that. So I know that things of this nature are often 9:16. So I'm actually going to start a brand new project here and name it. Well, I'm not going to name it anything. That doesn't really matter. Let me just make sure everything's in order here. Okay, cool. Back in place. All right, so I'm also doing the behind the scenes of this, so mind me. All right, so we're gonna go into a custom graphic. Granted, in Adobe Express, you have already templates on every level. So you have templates for you to create a flyer, a collage, an Instagram post, an Instagram story. So I can create a custom size graphic, or I can go by something like this, like an Instagram story is a 9 by 16, and I am familiar with that being the exact same size as the real thumbnails. So I'm gonna actually click that in order to get myself started. Okay, so that's looking well so far. Let's see. Let's make sure this is running smoothly. Cool. Hope y'all are able to see the same thing I am seeing. Live, it can be funny. So let's see here. All right, I think we troubleshooted that really quick. All right, here we are. Awesome. So you'll see here on the left-hand side, you're gonna find a lot of the templates. So I think of it often as left side is for inspiration and resources, and right side is to modify those resources. And that's an easy way for you to get a hang of all the tools that are gonna be presented here on Adobe Express. So I know that I want to create something, a really catchy thumbnail that works for me. And in fact, I have an image already that I want to use. So as a point of reference, I like to use an image that exists within my video, but this is a great reference for layout inspiration. So let's say I was to use something like this. It takes a hot second, and it populates a working file. So it has several layers, which I can modify. And so you can see here, we have all of those layers visible in what is my dream, a gorgeous UI version of layers, right? Layers and on top of each other, which is so cool because that's exactly what they do. They are behind each other, in front of each other, and they interact in that way. So I know I want to pick this image layer, because the image layer, we're going to replace it. So we're going to go here and click replace. Immediately, it sends me to the vault of images. And it's so cool because the vault of images gives me access to Adobe stock. So a stock vault of photography. Also within this area is an opportunity for you to upload imagery from your desktop, which I may do, and also upload imagery from Lightroom, directly from Lightroom, which I think is awesome, and directly from Dropbox, Google Drive, Google Photos. Incredible, right? Like it's just they think of everything, and I think that those little things just quicken that workflow that much more. So I'm just gonna hit upload here, and I'm going to actually go into my recents and grab that Skillshare file. Sweet. And now you can see run, which now it's out of context, right? But that's okay, because what I'm gonna do here is instead of run, I can modify this text to say maybe a 3-letter word. What can we think of here? Happy, not a 3-letter word, I am aware. But you can think of different ways of modifying this. So let me grab my keyboard here and say B-Day. And modify the next one and say B-Day. And then finally, I'm gonna write the word thanks, but kind of like in Does that work? And X, right? Would that be the way? Yes. So it's like birthday thanks, because that's what my video is about. It's extending gratitude for everybody who wished me happy birthday, people who not only wish me happy birthday, but I am certain they have been supporting me along the way. And that is a big deal to me. So I like to extend a thank you. I like to go out of my way to make a video and create a beautiful thumbnail to say thank you. It's like a version of a postcard, a modern postcard. Okay, we can modify all of this other text too if we want to. But in this case, I feel like I don't actually want that text. So I might take it out. See more is a really cool option here because it's a call to action. So I can say watch. Maybe I can say watch, take a look. And so I can modify that to watch. My keyboard is like hidden way down, but you know. So now in this case, I am liking this color palette, super cool, but say I want to modify this color palette. I'm gonna keep this as an option just in case, and I'm just gonna duplicate this layer right here. Now let's see how we're doing with time. Awesome. This is a quick visit, y'all. Quick visit. I might make it longer for an hour or so for the next round. What do y'all think? I think that could be cool. I really love using Adobe Express because it's fast. So I thought this would be a nice, fun one to learn in speed of light. Okay, so now that said, I want to maybe modify this design. We are working on artboard number 2, and I want to modify this by, for example, going into the design option. Remember, on the right, we are modifying. So on the right, where I'm going to go in here and see all of these other alternative designs, and I can play around with it. And so if I wanted to modify this to say this design here, it will grab all that text, all that copy, all those graphics, and resize it and place them in different orders. Now, I may not want that one, so I'm just gonna undo. Let me show you a different one. That's a different one there. And it's so immediate. It basically uses a degree of intelligence, AI intelligence, we all know about this, to reformat the graphics, the images, the sizes, everything. And of course, you can continue to resize it and make it something that works for you. Now, if I wanted to, let's say, move forward with this, which I feel like I really like this approach here, I might want to say, well, this yellow is not quite my brand, right? If we went back to my social media output, you see that my brand color is this orange hue, right? And I love playing with primary colors and things of that nature, right? So something like this, I love playing with that. So I'm just gonna go into this section here on Adobe Express, where you're going to find this thing right here, design. Under here, you're gonna find this thing called apply brand. I love that. So I can just apply brand in a matter of a click. So I'm gonna click here, and it shuffles through my color palettes, my chosen color palettes. And so not only does this create a degree of variation, it also keeps in mind the font choices that I would like to use. So you might wonder, how did it know what color palette you wanted? I mean, you just hit apply brand. Yes, it's fairly simple. It was very quickly, right? So there is a step that you want to take before doing that establishes your choices of logos and fonts. So I might go into my homepage here. And so now I'm in my homepage, and I'm gonna go into brands right here on my left-hand side. So you're gonna find in here, you can select create a brand. And I've done this already, and I'm just gonna go into one that is existing, and this is managing my brand. You'll find that my logo of choice is here with my icon, my C icon. I've chosen my hex number for my color palette. And I also have font options and body fonts, and even alternative fonts should it come to that. That if there's a lot of text in my graphics, it will start to implement all of those elements, and it gives me options to change how I want those colors to play with each other. So I might not want an orange on top of orange, right? So I have the ability to make those decisions right here. And it's really cool like that, right? We have now our customizable font brand. And I have here another version of a brand that I often want to use. So you can really populate this with your clients' brands. Well, if you're freelancing, something of that nature, or several subsidiaries of your project brands. Like I like to have a brand for my live streams and a brand for my podcast and so on. It's a good option to have those. So I'm going to go back into my projects here and revisit my project, which is named my project at the moment. And we're going to go into our second one. We had the second one here. Super cool. So now I actually don't want birthday. I don't want birthday repeated twice. I can just erase that, and I can just say, oh, actually I do want to keep that initial birthday. So undo, real quick undo. I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm actually going to place this maybe a little bit bigger here, like this. And I'm going to go into the section where I get different font options if I choose to really play around with it. And I also get these font modifications. So one of my favorite ones here, okay. So one of my favorite ones here is this section here. It's called Curved Grid and Magic. All right. So when it comes to these, essentially warps the text so that it starts to have a little bit more of a stylistic look. So I can make it look curved. I can make it look like it's stretched out. I can make it a little bit, magic is cool because it's just randomized. So magic can just play around. I feel like I really like this one, birthday. That was cool. So I might do that. And then same for thanks. Let's write thanks here. And actually I want to change the color of this. And you can see all of my brand colors are populated. Also current color palettes get switched as you use color palettes. So they're readily available whenever you want them. So I might say thanks here. And I don't want this graphic, but I might want to use this graphic here and extend it. And it's fairly close to the way you would imagine you would use any app on your phone. In fact, you can use this on your phone. And I might want to switch actually that triangle. I'm going to switch this triangle for a different resource. So I'm going to go into shapes. When I click it, it already takes me there because it belonged in shapes to begin with. So I'm going to go into shapes and go back to the start and find something like maybe an arrow. So I might use something a bit more organic, maybe something like that. And you can see it switched it right away. And that looks a little bit more up to par with the way I usually approach design. A little bit more organic. Let's put birthday here on the corner. And now we have yet another variation. So we have this one and we have this one. And if we wanted to keep on playing here, we can, and we can continue to modify. And I'll show you what that looks like when you play around. I've built complete assets for elements like my social media, but also for I'm also a mentor on Skillshare. So for my Skillshare class, I built a lot of these different assets that can help guide my students throughout the class. And a lot of them were built here, and you can start to see how beautiful they can look. So talk about building brand material so quickly and easily within a single platform that can give you different variations of sizes, build different elements for social, but also for platforms like your website. I mean, it's really up to your imagination. So I found myself creating quite a bit for my Skillshare class. So you'll see the posts for my Skillshare class, marketing my Skillshare class, were built on Adobe Express. Really cool how they're built. And my Skillshare class is about how to create videos like this, short reels for social media, for Instagram, for storytelling, using your phone videography. And I think it's a special place for you to get started in learning film. It has been for me. So I felt really, really inspired to develop my own class for y'all to learn how to feel inspired using your phone videography. So this class, you can see here how I went about using all of those assets, and it's really all in the effort of getting the folks who are students on Skillshare and are taking my class, for them to really feel like they really are learning and getting to know this class a little bit more intimately, and everything feels like it inspires you. It's a big element that I like to incorporate into everything I do. So this class is a grand project of mine. It has been a big pride for me to be able to create this class, because it's self-produced and it's really just for aspiring artists, because I love teaching and I was an aspiring artist at some point, will continue to be a student forever. And I find this to be like a beautiful way for me to connect with students, because I give feedback to the projects that come out of this class. And so I encourage you to check it out. I'm going to be leaving a special 1 month free of Skillshare on the description on this live stream. So for everyone who is joining me now to take advantage of it, for the restreamer fam to take advantage of it. And I just want to say thank you for being here today and participating in this live stream with me. I hope to see you again on the next one, and see you on the other side.